Finland's President Sauli Niinisto reiterated his country's right to join NATO if it wants to, in a dismissal of Russian demands for no further expansion of the Western military alliance near its borders. He said, Finland's room to maneuver and freedom of choice also includes the possibility of military alignment and of applying for NATO membership, should we so decide, and sought guarantees that Finland would not join NATO. In a statement released by the Kremlin, President Putin said, Russia wants international legal security guarantees ruling out further movement of NATO to the eastern borders. Opinion polls suggest that 40% of Finns oppose joining NATO, with 26% in favor. Recently, US President Joe Biden spoke to Putin for the second time in a month over tensions with NATO, again threatening a tough response including unprecedented sanctions should Russia invade Ukraine. Biden said, I made it clear to President Putin that if he makes any more moves into Ukraine we will have severe sanctions. We will increase our presence in Europe with NATO allies. Russia has deployed 100,000 troops near the Ukrainian border, using the prospect of an invasion to pressure NATO to give guarantees it will not expand. Finland's President Niinisto said Russia's ultimatums are in conflict with the European Security Order and demanded that European states must not be excluded from negotiations between Russia, the United States, and NATO. Senior US and Russian officials are seeking a pathway to reduce tensions. In addition to written security guarantees that Ukraine and other former Soviet countries will be excluded from any NATO expansion, Moscow is demanding that the alliance remove offensive weaponry from countries neighboring Russia. The US and NATO allies say the Russian demands are non-starters. President Niinisto said, in this situation, Europe cannot just listen in. The sovereignty of several member states, also Sweden and Finland, has been challenged from outside the Union. This makes the EU an involved party. The EU must not settle merely with the role of a technical coordinator of sanctions. His comments came as German Chancellor Olaf Scholz was criticized for taking a milder stance against Russia in his New Year address. He said, transatlantic cooperation is also essential for security in Europe. In this area, we are currently facing new challenges regarding Ukraine. The inviolability of borders is precious and is not negotiable. Political analyst Andrew Weiss said, there are glaring differences between Scholz's comments and how President Niinisto lays it all out there concerning the Russia problem. Read both messages and judge for yourself who understands power politics in the year 2022. On the other side, Ukraine said one of its soldiers was killed in fighting with pro-Moscow separatists, a day before President Volodymyr Zelensky was due to speak with President Biden. Russia meanwhile has promised to take all measures to pursue its interests. Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov said, we will not allow our initiatives to be drowned in endless discussions. If no constructive answer comes in a reasonable time and the West continues its aggressive course, Russia will have to take all necessary measures to maintain a strategic balance and remove unacceptable threats to our security. As a response, Moscow has warned Finland against joining NATO amid rising tensions between Russia and the Western military alliance. The Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova accused the alliance of trying to pull the two countries into its orbit. She said, it is quite obvious that the ascension of Finland to NATO would have serious military and political consequences that would require an adequate response from Russia. Finland pursued a policy of neutrality throughout the Cold War and the country hasn't ever formally applied to join NATO. In addition to Finland, Sweden's foreign minister Ann Linde said, Russia's demands would reduce the opportunities for countries to make independent decisions. She said, we must have a rules-based world order, where we have international law and each country has the right to make its own security policy choice. While Russia has always opposed NATO members bordering its territory, it has also said that it is up to Finland to decide whether it wants to join the military alliance and that Russia would respect the outcome. Now it appears that the Kremlin is trying to turn back the clocks and re-establish spheres of influence in Europe. Finland's president reacted to the Russian warning. He said decisions on new members joining will be taken by the applicant country and NATO's member states, and decisions on membership are for the applicant and NATO countries to decide. Additionally, President Niinisto and US President Joe Biden had a brief telephone conversation. The White House said the two leaders had shared concerns about the situation in Ukraine. Biden also praised Finland's decision to choose American-made F-35 fighters, to replace its aging fleet of F-18 Hornets. Biden has said that the purchase provides a strong foundation for closer bilateral defense cooperation in the coming years. According to Finnish officials, the main topic of discussion was the situation on Ukraine's borders. The two presidents said it was important to work together to find a diplomatic solution to the tense situation. Similarly, Prime Minister Sanna Marin emphasized Finland's potential to apply for membership in NATO. She said, "Finland retains the option of applying for NATO membership. We should uphold this freedom of choice and make sure it remains a reality, as this is part of every country's right to decide on its security policies." She also said Finland would continue to intensify its European security and defense cooperation. "It is one of the foundations of European security enshrined in the principles of the OSCE. We have shown that we have learned from the past. We will not let go of our room for maneuver." On the other side, the commander of Finland's defense forces Timo Kivinen told the media that he regards the decision to purchase F-35 fighter jets as the best possible deal. Kivinen said that the strategic situation in the Baltic Sea is not likely to change for the better in the near future. The situation in Ukraine could have ripple effects in the Baltic Sea region. He said, "There is an exceptional buildup there, and it is being followed closely. We are looking at different scenarios and evaluations. It is possible that military actions there could start, and there would be broader ripple effects also here, in the Baltic Sea region. I wouldn't say that this is happening now, but it is possible." NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg visited Finland in October and praised their willingness to work with the alliance amid Russia's aggressive posturing. Moscow made the unusual move of publishing draft treaties on a potential security deal, although Washington immediately signaled that some of Russia's demands were unacceptable. These included a ban on any future expansion of NATO, with only Ukraine mentioned by name, but others such as Finland and Sweden also covered. Finland's President Niinistö said that NATO is a force for stability in Europe and that membership is between applicant countries and the alliance itself. Finland has joined several NATO partnership programs to ease cooperation with Western military powers. The country is officially known as an Enhanced Opportunities Partner to NATO and benefit from regular consultations, joint exercises, and information sharing. Additionally, Finland ordered $11 billion worth of F-35 fighters from U.S. warplane manufacturer Lockheed Martin and showed a good intention to the U.S. The decision to buy Lockheed Martin F-35A Lightning II fighters marks the biggest arms deal in Finland's history. It also has significant political consequences, signaling the increased weight put on the Baltic Sea region by Washington. The €8.4 billion deal to replace the current Boeing Hornet F-18 fleet in use since 1992 involves 64 fifth-generation fighters, tailored weaponry, training and sustainment solutions, plus maintenance services and industrial cooperation. In doing so, Finland wants to show its intention to stand against Russia with the support of the US. This is time to share your opinion. Will Finland join NATO?